I'm disgusted with myself. Last night I made a terrible choice. I got home and I went on a rampage. I had my dinner, all was good there, healthy fats, plenty of protein, nothing but nutrient-rich foods. And then I started on the fruit. At first, it was mild. A few dates here, a few jujubes, a few tamarinds. But then I went off the rails. I started making just an obscene amount of popcorn. You know, those popcorn kernels that I lied to myself and told, oh, it's whole food, so it's fine. It's not full of artificial garbage, so I can eat it, no problem. I decided to douse that popcorn with puree, mango, passion fruit. Again, because I lied to myself. I told myself, oh, it's just fruit. What's the harm that could happen, right? And like a wild animal, I just kept consuming this concoction. I obviously ended up going to bed feeling bloated and disgusting, even though I lied to myself again and said, if I stop 2 hours before I go to bed, it'll be fine. It wasn't fine. I went to bed feeling just engorged. But I thought to myself, yeah, it's gonna get better overnight. It's gonna die down. Flippin' hell, how wrong I was. Little did I know that the concoction of popcorn and fruit is basically like a chemical war zone. All of these sugars, fiber, you know, they create this environment of fermentation inside your own stomach. So I paid the price heavily. I had a brutal night. My body was literally getting rid of every single gas, solid, liquid it could. I spent the night writhing in bed, my stomach in agony, taking very, very regular trips to the toilet where I would shit, vomit, burp, fart. It was an absolute nightmare. Throughout this whole time, I was in such a deep state of agony. I was telling myself, never again, never again. I'm never binging again. This is hell. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like a weekend warrior, a drunkard who's went out on the town and had one too many, and now he feels it the next day. He wakes up hungover, head pounding. Oh, I'm never doing this again. And does he change? Does he ever do it again? Yes. He probably gets back to it the very next weekend. So, how do we prevent this disgusting event from ever happening again? How? Well, first things first, I need to cut out the weekend warrior energy. Shame is an easy sense of relief. It's a quick hit of more cheap pleasure. How? How's that possible? Shame makes you feel bad. It only makes you feel a little bad. Enough to victimize yourself. Say, poor little me, I'm out of control. It gives control back to your vice, back to your addiction. We must feel a visceral emotion so much stronger than shame. We must feel just deep disgust, the soul-wrenching regret, not because just for the sake of it. No. We need to make this an identity thing. You see, we have the king inside of us and the peasant. The king makes all of the choices that is aligned with the highest version of ourselves. He wants us to operate like a savage. But the peasant wants the opposite. The peasant wants cheap comfort, easy pleasure. He wants to feel good now, and he's always whispering. He's very convincing because he will make you justify the most destructive behavior, and you'll feel like you've been hoodwinked. You'll come to the end of it and be like, what the fuck was I thinking? How did I lose control like this? You lost control to the peasant because you didn't reinforce the voice of your king that day. Your king was tired, weak, recovering. You didn't feed him enough. Therefore, he was not able to overpower this dirty, filthy peasant. Let me explain with a further example of my story. So, yesterday, I had quite a lackluster day. It all began because I, again, overate just a little bit before the gym. I did my morning session of deep work, completely fasted, uncaffeinated. And then I decided to have a couple cups of strong coffee. I wanted to hype myself up before the gym. And along with that, I started to eat my pre-workout meal. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's the perfect concoction. It's got everything you need for maximum pumps, high energy, no bloat, but in the right quantities. I ate my pre-workout meal. I had my watermelon, banana, raisins, cacao nibs, and a little bit of raw honey. I felt fueled. I felt ready to go. I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. But the little peasant inside of me, the little sugar addicted comfort seeker, started to whisper to me, oh, just a little bit more honey, just a little bit more cacao. It would surely make your workout better. No. So I listened to it. I had some more honey, I had some more cacao. And I had a very lackluster gym session. It felt slow, sluggish, lethargic. It felt like I was fighting myself just to be able to do a set. I wasn't coming in pumped, hyped. I was coming in and just basically dragging myself through it, trying to finish the day. And I still went hard, I still pushed it, but it just felt off. And this theme, this lackluster theme, it carried on for the rest of the day. I spent the day doing half-finished, half-assed tasks and errands. I went around Chiang Mai, went and got a haircut, told myself I was being productive. I ended up visiting a beautiful nature spot, meditating with the Buddha or a statue of him. I ended up, half productive, and that's not a good place to be. You either go all in or you take a rest day and you just recharge. You don't do any of this half-baked shit, because this whole time you are strengthening the voice of your peasant, this disgusting sack of shit. And so I wasn't feeding my king that day because I wasn't attacking with aggression. I was feeding my peasant. And so when I started driving home after, half doing a whole bunch of stuff, I started to get to hear the whispers of this peasant. He started telling me, you still have over 2 hours until you need to go to bed. You can afford to stuff your face a bit harder than you usually would. And again, my king was not strong enough to silence this voice. And he also started whispering a very strange but very convincing argument. He told me that, hey, you still have another reel to create. And you told yourself you needed to make them a lot lower IQ because they were too complex. You were trying to, be too clever with it. And obviously they weren't getting much exposure because of that. So I was like, yeah, okay, if I need to make them dumber, I can stuff my face and get a bit of brain fog. It's not a problem. That ended up happening. I stuffed my face. I got intense brain fog. I don't know if I made a better reel. I don't think... It was a lot more painful to produce. It took me so much more effort. But I don't think I actually lowered my IQ. If anything, I was overthinking a lot more because it's this concoction of food. I think if I'm going to lower my IQ for real for that like retarded experiment, I need to go all the way. Smoke weed, huff frickin' gasoline, the works to actually lower my IQ. Obviously, I'm never going to do that. I just need to think of it with the frame of, okay, what would I do if I was 50% stupider? That's it. I don't need to do all these copes and justifications. But anyway, how do we recover from this event? Because it was a brutal night and I woke up feeling never again. But how do I actually prevent this from happening again? It's very, very easy to feel this shame, this disgust, because the next time this opportunity comes, I might not remember just how much agony I had to go through last night. I need to keep reminding myself of this. I wrote an essay of pain so that I would never forget, not just how I felt physically, but mentally. Because it feels disgusting to surrender to the peasant. I want to be a king, a savage who's in control. Not a dirty, binging peasant who uses food as a source of easy comfort and cheap pleasure. So, every single choice that I make from now must be aligned with either identity in mind. There is no neutral. There is no, just coasting along. No. Every choice you make is either aligned with the peasant or the king. Pick one. Can't have it both ways. The voice of the king must be so loud, he must be screaming with ferocity, so that this doesn't even have a chance of happening again. Feed the king every single day, but the worst thing I can do right now is to overcompensate. The worst thing I can do right now is to spiral into shame and tell myself, now I need to do a 7-day fast to punish myself, to make up for it. Terrible idea. I also, thought when I woke up, bro, I have to go to the gym and I have to absolutely destroy myself again. Not a good idea. As much as I want to, my guts is still in tatters. I feel very delicate. So going in, because today is leg day, and just absolutely going to war with the weights would not end well. I'm going to go. I'm going to see how I feel when I start warming up, starting to load a bit. But I'm not going to go in with the idea that, I have to punish myself. It's not going to be a session for maximal intensity. It's going to be a session for recalibration and rebuilding self-trust. To further cement this identity shift, we need to ritualize the behavior. We need a small symbol that will burn this into my memory. I mean, I've already written an essay of pain. I've distilled the notes, taken a screenshot, and added it as my screensaver to constantly remember. But we also need a symbolic gesture to just finalize the identity transformation. And this video, which I really, really did not want to make. I battled with myself. I was so ashamed. I still don't even know if I'm going to post this or not. If I end up posting it, then, bro, feel lucky that I'm willing to be so vulnerable. Maybe I'll just keep it as a video journal for me. Or it might have even more potency if I feed it to the world. We'll see. By the way, kill the peasant, feed the king.